everybody, and welcome back to the Drive Pink Dialogue. And I will say, for those that don't get a chance to see, every time the introduction theme goes, Saur does a nice little dance on that little camera, and then as soon as it ends, he comes into his very serious mode. I'm your host, Scotty. I am, of course, joined with my co-host, Saur. Tonight we're talking about last night's 4-0 victory against NYCFC. Inter Miami did something that they have never done, gone on the road and beat NYCFC. We're going to talk all about it. I rewatched the game. We'll have some awards in the second half. We'll talk about what it means for the team moving forward. But I start with this. My friend, my co-host, how are you feeling on this Thursday early evening?
First of all, don't go revealing trade secrets, man. That's between you and me and the graphics department. Nobody else is supposed to know that. Second of all, don't you mean guest host, given the fact that I've barely shown up recently in any of the episodes, and given the fact that I'll be gone for a while after this episode? And third, this is a historic episode. I don't know if we ever get to celebrate a win against NYCFC ever again. So we should cherish it. We should enjoy it. And I've got some really good awards. I hope you have as well. But I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm feeling good. I also, spoiler alert, accidentally sent Saur my awards instead of the graphics department, so he knows my awards.
Wait, I haven't seen the. I haven't seen the
Okay,
message.
all right. Well, then we'll just leave it. You just put your phone away.
Okay.
you just put your phone away. No, they did something that they've never done before, and I remember vividly every single time we played this team over the last 3 or 4 games since Messi arrived. We've said to ourselves, like, they are the much better team, Inter Miami, and they should win this game. And yet there was a last-minute James Sands goal last year, and there was a red card here or there, and there was something that even though Inter Miami often played better, often deserved a victory, often were the better team, they came away with 1 or 0 points. And last night was the first time we were thinking, this NYCFC team's in pretty good form. Nico Fernandez has really transformed what they can do. Alonso Martinez is scoring like a madman this year. Maybe, actually, we might probably lose this game. And that's when we deliver a 4-0 victory. So, Inter Miami does something historic, and I think it allows them to do something historic in the coming weeks because they got the 3 crucial points and the momentum through last night's game. So I agree with you. I think on all fronts, this was a huge game for Inter Miami.
Yeah, and it goes a long way to give some confidence to the players because psychologically this has never happened before. We've never won away from home against NYCFC, and it wasn't just a smash and grab. It wasn't just a easy. It wasn't just a difficult win against a team that's in quite hot form. We actually scored a lot of goals against them, which we barely do. I think the last 4 or 5 score lines all read 1-0, 1-1, 2-1, 2-0. So scoring 4 is big. And also keeping a clean sheet is important. So overall, I thought this was a very positive performance. I think will instill a lot of confidence in the team moving forward into the next few games and into the playoffs. So largely positive on all accounts.
Okay, I rewatched the game. Actually, we have some housekeeping to do. David Ruiz had surgery on an injury that he suffered with Honduras over the previous international window. And Inter Miami has not announced anything, but the Honduran national team has announced that he had a successful surgery. So hopefully he's going to be back soon. I don't know, man. I don't have anything to say about that, really. But David Ruiz got injured and obviously has missed the last several games, but he got a surgery. It was successful, and he's on the road to recovery and might be back in the playoffs, but is going to miss the next several weeks in recovery.
First of all, wish him a speedy recovery. It's never great because he had had an off and on season. It's been difficult for him,
It's
and
been a
he's
lost
been through
season
a
for him.
lot. Yeah, and he's had some personal issues as well. So I hope he recovers quickly. I hope he recovers mentally, and hope we get to see him in Heron colors soon enough. But are you even surprised that this team is very opaque with its publicity about injuries and how it deals with the players? I'm not surprised at all. sad state of affairs, but that's how it's always been since Messi's come to the club. So not surprised that's the case. And unfortunately, we've had to hear it through the international team rather than the club itself. But hopefully, he recovers soon enough.
Is that the last time we ever see him play for Inter Miami? Have we already witnessed his last game for the Herons? I don't know if I want to. I don't know if I want to go into that right now.
I don't know. It depends if the coach is still here next season.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, let's get into this game. I rewatched it today, and I will say, I think, as we are very much prone to do, we overreacted on the Raw reaction last night. So anyone that watched that or listened to that, I have very different opinions on why and how this game turned out the way it did upon a calm and composed rewatching of the game. We're going to talk all about that. But almost all of the big takeaways that I had in my brain last night, I don't know if I feel that way about any of them after rewatching the game. So I just want to get your thoughts. You've now had 24 hours to digest. You feeling different? You feeling the same? You feeling worse, better? Where's your mindset about what happened last night?
Yeah, I thought Inter Miami yesterday played a fantastic game, and I was obviously a little reserved in my judgment. I thought this was definitely a fantastic game, but Inter Miami needs to build on this and make sure that they go into the next game performing at the same level. And hopefully, this is, if not a turning point, then a foundation of something good to come in the next few games. I have changed my mind since. I think Inter Miami is going to win the Supporter Shield, and they're going to win the MLS Cup, and we're going to win the Club World Cup retroactively. They're going to disqualify PSG for something. No, I'm kidding. I still think it was a positive performance. You have to judge it in a vacuum because there's nothing to build on as such. I still think Inter Miami has shown incremental upgrades over the last few games. There's obviously been a few issues, didn't necessarily protect the ball that well against DC, but still scored goals. And I thought efficiency was the key. I know what my reasons for that were and how I judged the game, but I think overall a largely positive game that Inter Miami can build on and take a few positive things away from.
So what you're saying is you're ready to give that fancy new contract to Javier Mascherano, right?
Oh, absolutely. Keep him here for 10 years with a clause that you can't fire him for the next 10 years.
All right, let's get into the game. And I want to start in the 12th minute. This was a moment that I think didn't really think much of in live action. And if I didn't know what was coming for the rest of the game, I probably wouldn't have made a note of it. But in the 12th minute of this game, Lionel Messi receives the ball 25, 28, maybe 30 yards out from goal. He turns, takes touch, and he shoots from 30 yards. And I remember thinking this, earlier today when I rewatched that, man, this is a confident player. And is that a sign that he's going to have a great game when he shoots from 35 yards? I don't know. But in this game, knowing what came in the second half, I think it was a great sign of his early confidence and health and feeling himself. So I did want to make note of that in the 12th minute. Couple other first half moments before we get to the opener. 21st minute, there was a corner for NYCFC that Thiago Martins gets on the end of, and he's sort of wide open. We didn't really know what happened there. He heads it right into Ustadi, and it ends up being nothing. Maxi Falcone is kind of tripped by his teammate in that play, so it's not a foul, but he falls. He gets tripped over, and that's why Thiago Martins is wide open on that play. There's another minute in the 29th where Noah Allen doesn't quite clear it, and then Nico Fernandez gets the best of him. Kind of Falcone's trying to make a desperate last attempt, overruns it, a cutback by Nico Fernandez, and then he shoots and he hits the post and goes wide. Inter Miami pretty lucky in that situation. So a couple moments in that first half an hour where NYCFC could have gotten the breakthrough. They don't, which leaves us an even game until the 43rd minute where Baltasar Rodriguez tries to make sort of an entry pass to Lionel Messi. He just misses the pass. It goes straight to Thiago Martins, and Martins just pushes it forward, trying to clear it, and it goes straight to Sergio Busquets, who fires it right to Lionel Messi, who then puts perfectly placed ball into Baltasar Rodriguez. And because Baltasar was the one who made the turnover, he kind of starts drifting forward without anyone paying attention to him, which is what gives him the lane to make that run in behind Lionel Messi. Not just a perfectly weighted ball, but one through the legs of Thiago Martins into Baltasar Rodriguez, who then finishes in a way that we haven't always seen from our wide players over the course of this season. So kind of a tricky and nuanced play that led to Baltasar getting wide open. And of course, the incredible placement by Lionel Messi is a big part of it. But Baltasar puts it in, and Inter Miami gets that 1-0 lead.
Yeah, and I want to build up to this goal. So I think the first two moments that you mentioned were probably the poorest Inter Miami looked defensively, and I'm glad we got it out of the way at the start of the game and didn't actually concede a goal from that, because the corner that you mentioned was very poor. Maxi Falcone, whether or not gets tripped by his own player, still there was a player on the back post that's completely free. Oscar Starry, I think, pulling off a great save. So credit to him for that. Could have easily been 1-0. And then the Noah Allen Maxi Falcone moment was, I think, both our centre backs just completely fluffing their lines. I thought Noah Allen did fine, slipped a little bit, had some issues dealing with it, but Maxi Falcone got rinsed because Nico Fernandez turned him inside out and had a clear opportunity on goal. I thought as soon as he missed that and hit the post, Inter Miami was in for the win, because I thought that was our night. We were very lucky on those two occasions. Other than that, I thought the defense was very astute, and I don't want to jump the gun to the 90th minute, but I think over the course of the rest of the game, both Maxi Falcone and Noah Allen looked very good. The goal leading up to the play that we created, of course, Baltasar Rodriguez trying to get the ball in, isn't able to get it in the right position. The goalkeeper clears it straight into Sergio Busquets. Two fantastic passes. Sergio Busquets line breaking into Messi. I think the turn that Messi takes with the ball at his feet was better than the actual pass, because the pass was relatively simple into Baltasar Rodriguez, who I think got lucky being in the position that he is, but he still had a lot to do. One-on-one with the keeper. We've seen this happen plenty of times with Allende. I thought he was going to miss. I thought Baltasar was going to miss, just because my head has been drilled into thinking Allende would shoot it straight at the keeper. But great finish from him. Did not panic. Just turned his hips a little bit and just placed the ball into the corner. Sign of a very confident player. Glad he got that goal. Second start, 2 goals already for Inter Miami. Very impressed with it, but I thought that was a great goal.
It would be a great start to his Inter Miami career if this had happened in March. Yeah.
Can you believe this was his first start, by the way, since March? Second start? That's insane.
Yeah. He's played
My
like 10
goodness.
games.
I just realized what I said, and I was like, oh my God. Okay. Anyways.
We'll have a conversation about Baltasar at some point in the coming weeks. That was it for the first half. But on my rewatch, I thought it was a very even game. And you had a level of confidence that I didn't have. We're on the road. NYCFC still had Alonso Martinez, their big goal scorer, on the bench and available to bring off in the second half. And we eventually did see him. Like, we've seen Inter Miami crumble too often this season for me to feel extraordinarily confident. And so going into the second half, I thought it was much of the same. A couple chances both ways. There's a moment where Baltasar, Tavon Gray, the right back for NYCFC, trips on that infield grass sod overlay. And Baltasar has what looks like an opportunity to get forward. He can't make much of it. There's a couple moments from NYCFC that are similar, sort of almost half chances, no real clear cut, wow, they should have had it moments. And then I thought the big turning point came in the 72nd minute, and that had nothing to do with Inter Miami. NYCFC takes off their best center back, Thiago Martins, and they partner Justin Haak and O'Neal, who are both defensive midfielders. Haak, who is a defensive midfielder by nature, has sort of deputized at center back this year for NYCFC. He was already in the starting 11 next to Martins. But then they push O'Neal back from the midfield into the center back position, take Thiago Martins, who's their DP center back, off. And I thought that cost them the game. And so all the things I said yesterday about Baltasar Rodriguez and Matteo Silvetti and how they opened everything up. It was a perfectly even game, I thought, for 72 minutes. And then NYCFC takes off their best defender, and that back line absolutely fell apart under the incredible pressure of some of the great Inter Miami players. Just 2 minutes after that, Busquets in the 74th minute has this incredible through ball to Messi, who finishes with an easy chip shot past Matt Freese. It makes it 2-0, and I think from that point on, it was lights out. Again, Justin Hawk and O'Neal, they get split on this moment. Poor defending, poor positioning from the two of them. The 82nd minute goal, which all three of these goals really go back to the center backs not being ready to take care of Inter Miami's attack. And it all started in the 72nd minute when Thiago Martins came off. So before we get to goal 3 and goal 4, I'll let you sit on goal 2 because that pass by Busquets was beautiful.
I think there's something to be said about Inter Miami going up against a team after Thiago Martins was taken off. They don't have that under their control, right? So the decisions NYC made were up to them. We can only play the team in front of us. Inter Miami still would have had a lot to do, but I think our job became a lot easier because NYCFC clearly tried to get back into the game. That first goal in the first half, honestly, was very much a blessing in disguise because it allowed Inter Miami to have some open space, given that NYCFC was now a lot more stretched out. 2 DMs in the back line is never easy. When you're playing up against Messi and you're playing against Sergio Busquets in the vein of form that he played yesterday, I think it was a recipe for disaster. So again, you can't fault Inter Miami for that, right? Because we only can do what's in front of, play against what's in front of us. That being said, I thought still our approach play was very, very good. And you mentioned Silvetti and Baltasar. I think the best moments that this Inter Miami team had yesterday were through the middle, all through the middle. So we didn't actually utilize our wings that much. So we were using a lot more line breaking passes. I thought we won the midfield battle clearly. And the second goal was exact representation of what kind of form Busquets was playing in yesterday. He just completely bypasses the midfield and the back line, puts Messi through. And he's done this, I think, 3 times already this season where he has this really long through ball all the way in behind the defense and opens up everything. I thought yesterday was Busquets' game through and through. He was running the show. And that second goal was, I think, a cherry on top for his performance, because I said to you, right before the second goal, I said, Busquets is having a brilliant performance. And then he goes and does that. So that, I think, just completely closed the loop on the kind of performance Busquets was having. Great finish by Messi, but also fantastic pass by Busquets.
Yeah, agree on all parts. Third goal also partially because of Busquets. He receives the ball, kind of taps it in Suarez and Luis Suarez's direction. Suarez dummies it, takes Justin Hawk out of position, and then Hawk tries to take a couple steps over to his left to recover, does not get in there in time. Rodrigo de Paul with the burst of pace to get in the way, get the touch, and then he gets tackled by Hawk trying to make the emergency recovery, and it's a penalty in the box that Luis Suarez converts. So again, just like you're saying, through the middle, Luis Suarez, Sergio Busquets, Rodrigo de Paul, Suarez with the finish. Like it was a level of class and quality that these defensive midfielders trying to play center back just couldn't handle, and they got exposed, and Miami took advantage of it.
Yeah. And a lot of the times Inter Miami has not been able to capitalize on the opposition's weaknesses. And I think yesterday we had to do a professional job, and Inter Miami did that. So I do think there's some optimism in me that we were able to actually get the job done. And I thought it was a very professional performance throughout the 90 minutes.
Yeah, 100% agree.
Also, great penalty.
Great penalty by Suarez. I think that's a goal, even if Matt Freese goes the right direction, because it's a rocket. Like, it's a rocket.
And bottom corner.
Then, I mentioned it last night, but I'll add it again. There was a sort of burst of explosive pace that Rodrigo de Paul has into the box that I haven't seen in any other portion of his play since he got to Inter Miami. So I want to know where that is, and I want to see it on a more consistent basis, but a conversation for another time. And then the last goal, sort of just a we're having fun here kind of goal, right? The third goal, the penalty puts it away, but the fourth one is just we're here to show you how much fun we have playing this game. It's a turnover by NYCFC that puts the ball into Messi's path. He takes on O'Neal one-on-one, and O'Neal just can't do anything about it. Kind of slowly guides him right into the path of a perfectly executed shot into that far post. Not a ton of pace on that final ball, but he doesn't need to. And by that, I mean Messi, because he puts it exactly where it needs to go. Inter Miami go up 4-0 in the 86th minute, and it was a wrap. I will say, 93rd minute, Alonso Martinez hit the post. So they had NYCFC had two moments where they hit the post. So the scoreline could have looked different, but with the way they played in the final 15 minutes, it was always going to be Inter Miami's game.
Listen, it was our day. There was nothing that was going to stop Inter Miami from winning that game after we scored 4 and keeping a clean sheet. Literally anything you could ask for this team to do yesterday happened to us. So I'm just glad that we got the 3 points. I thought it was very important in hindsight, with Vancouver dropping points against Portland, even more important. Gives this team a little bit more confidence going into a fairly easy stretch of games. And NYCFC is by no means an easy opponent. We've not beaten them away from home ever. So this is a historical game and a result. And also, it's a team that has been in a rich vein of form recently. So the fact that we're able to get away from this game with 4 goals, no goals conceded, will go a long way for how the table looks eventually. I think all things positive. See it in a vacuum. It's very positive and optimistic. If Inter Miami can build on this over the weekend, then I think we're onto something. So I'm going to stay positive about this performance, and I think there's a lot to build on from here. Let's see if we're able to do it.
Yeah, huge result. This is the type of team we're going to be facing in the playoffs. Good team in good form with high stakes. Like, this is what it's going to look like, and hopefully Inter Miami is going to get these games at home. You'd love to not have to go to an NYCFC in a couple weeks or a couple months, I guess. You wouldn't want to go to Charlotte, right? Like, these would be way tougher on the road, but this is what it's going to be like. Great environment, tough conditions, big matchup against a team in good form. And Inter Miami handled it well, and even though I thought it was an even game for 72 minutes, to go on the road in a stadium you never win in before, on the road at a team you've never really beaten before, like, I still think that's an impressive showing through the first 72 minutes. And then, as we know, this Inter Miami team seems to always have a little magic in them in the final 15 minutes. So, like, all around it, a really good showing, and I think it gives Inter Miami a lot of confidence going into the playoffs, because from this point on, they have 5 regular season games left. None of them are going to be, in all likelihood, the challenge that Inter Miami faced last night. And so, good result, good victory, good 3 points, good to get the goal differential. It puts us back in that conversation if there's some sort of a tie. And it's all good news, man.
There's a few more things I can be positive about, but I think we're going to talk about it when we talk about the formation, the starting 11, and all of that. So we can get to that when we talk about Javier Mascherano and his decision making.
Okay, next topic: the starting 11 and the formation and the structure. What do you got for us?
Going into this game, we didn't know how it would play out. Going into this game, we didn't think we would win the game as easily as we did, at least on paper. I think one thing I really want to commend from Javier Mascherano is the fact that he put out an attacking 11. He made not just one change in the flanks. Of course, Segovia was out. He could have easily played Allende and then maybe another Baltasar or Silvetti, one of the two. But he decided to play both of them. He took out a defensive midfielder in Yannick Bright, who I think has been pivotal for this team over the last few games. And overall, the attacking intent with which he approached this game was very, very positive. I think you mentioned this, that Javier Mascherano has been growing or at least improving in terms of how he's approaching the games, how he's setting this team up, not being as conservative over the course of 90 minutes. Even after we score a goal, we're not now going into our shell trying to protect the lead, but instead going out to try and get another goal. Yesterday, I dismissed it slightly, but I think it's worth commenting on and commending because it did look good as a starting 11. I was very pleased with the freshness that he brought in with that starting 11. And I think it showed on the pitch as well when Tamami was sharp, efficient, proficient, any of those adjectives that you want to use. So I think there was more positivity from the off-field decision making that I gave credit for yesterday. And if that's a sign of some things to come, then hopefully going into the playoffs, we can reach a point where we do the suffocation and the what's the three words that you keep using that I always forget?
You got to overwhelm them and
Yeah,
suffocate them and intimidate them.
there
Not
you go.
necessarily in that order.
I've got a few t-shirt ideas, by the way. So guys, let me know in the chat if you're
Oh
willing
my God.
to sponsor some of those t-shirts. One of them is going to be that exact quote, and the other one's going to be, "Oh, take it easy, but play hard."
Yeah, to be determined on that one. On the t-shirts, it's a great phrase. Yes, he has been more aggressive, and one of the things we've been saying all season is that this team isn't as built to be aggressive. The team is not built to be defensive juggernauts. They don't have the center backs. They have the greatest player in the world. They have one of the best strikers of his generation, one of the best attacking left backs in the history of the game. Like, this is a team meant to be an aggressive offensive team. And so it's not that he's growing into a more aggressive coach. It's just that he's starting to understand that that's how this team needs to play to get the best out of them. And that is still growth. So I appreciate that and I applaud that. Here's my problem. And by the way, last night on the Raw Reaction, someone said I was the negative one, and you agree with it. And so maybe I am the negative one. And I think I'm about to understand why. Man, we did a lot of talking about how Silvetti and Baltasar changed everything for Inter Miami and how they look so much smoother as a team and how the middle was opening up for them and how they were playing so well and crisp and all that stuff. And those two guys came out in the 66th minute. And then Inter Miami started taking over in the 72nd minute. So by the time this game became overwhelmingly an Inter Miami sort of fun fest for us fans, those two guys had been gone for a while. And Yannick Bright and Tadeo Allende had settled into the pace of play. We switched more to a 4-3-3 after that substitution. So the two wide midfielders come out. Allende goes into that left wing role, and Yannick Bright obviously into the midfield. So maybe we don't just run it back. I think we overreacted to Baltasar and Silvetti's impact on reflection and on rewatching this game. They didn't do anything particular. Like, they weren't poor. They weren't terrible. They just were on this pitch during the first 66 minutes of this game. Baltasar obviously has the goal, so extra kudos to him. But the real dominant portion of this game, those guys are not anywhere to be found.
Yes and no. I think I 85% agree with you. 15% there's an element of the off the ball stuff that happens, the threat that they offer, the technicality that they have on the ball. They are outlets that aren't being used. So yes, there is an element of just their mere presence and aura was able to produce the result that Inter Miami produced yesterday. But I completely agree with you, and I said it earlier as well. Everything good that was happening in offense was through the middle. I think this game was largely more about Sergio Busquets performing at the level that he was, and Lionel Messi obviously being Lionel Messi, than Baltasar Rodriguez and Silvetti. I think we over-exaggerated or overestimated the impact on this team because this was the first time that we've actually seen two players who are probably the closest to being out-and-out wingers both playing at the same time and not relying on having a midfielder out on the wide channels. So maybe that's why we read into it a little bit too much, but I still think there's worth in exploring that further. And
Me too.
maybe this wasn't the game for it because this was a very narrow field in itself, narrower than most fields. But maybe going into a game against someone like Atlanta or Toronto, I know Silvetti's not going to be there, but having those two out-and-out wingers could be beneficial in some way or another. We didn't see it in yesterday's game. I agree with you on that. But I still think there's worth in employing that again and often if we can.
I agree with you, but like there's I think a technical ability with these guys and a sort of short area burst that they kind of, it seems, play really well around all of the veterans and stars, but then I rewatched the game and I realized that actually wasn't having a huge impact on the game. So I guess I just want to walk back on how impactful it was a little bit. Because to me, again, the turning point really was when Thiago Martins came out. Their center backs were just totally ineffective as center backs, and Inter Miami took great advantage of that. And it was when Baltasar and Silvetti were off the field. So just going to remind people that it's not that we found the magic cure and it's just playing all these guys together. It's something NYCFC did wrong, and we took advantage of it. The field. We should mention, we've mentioned it a couple times. They played this game at Citi Field. One of the things they did really well in the second half was ball progression. Like just easy, crisp, clean, pushing the ball forward. Even in the first half, it was pretty good. And one of the reasons that I thought that was pretty obvious was because they played at Citi Field instead of Yankee Stadium, and the field is much bigger. And I realized something. The reason Yankee Stadium is so narrow is because they don't want to play on the infield. So the entire stadium has to fit in the outfield. And this game, you see the dirt with the sort of grass placed on top of it. It's probably not super obvious from looking at it like field level, but from the TV, it was pretty obvious that there was a part of the pitch that was clearly different. A couple guys slipped on it. Noah Allen had that moment where Nico Fernandez scored. Like that happens on that part of the pitch. There's a moment in the second half where Tavon Gray slips over there. So a couple of moments you could see it had an impact. But by doing that with the infield, it allows you to have that wider pitch, which Inter Miami was able to take advantage of, and it's something Inter Miami could use to create a ton of offense and play their game in a way that I don't think they've done the last two times they went to NYCFC.
Yeah, and I mean, of course, the stadium's definitely to account for that, but still, I think there was just a certain smoothness in the way that we were playing yesterday that I really enjoyed. And it almost felt nonchalant in how we were passing, and it was coming 2 feet. The operation in and around close areas was very, very good. Of course, Messi does that really well, but I thought a lot of players handled the ball very well and protected the ball really well, which added to the pleasant way in which we thought the game went.
Yeah, I think also for me at least, it was more the ball progression, the line breaking pass. They were finding the open spaces quickly. It was
all
never
Busquets,
put under a ton
man.
of pressure.
It was all Busquets.
And Messi, of course. But you're right; those two had a great game. I thought DePaul had some moments in that regard.
I thought he was fine. Yeah.
Again, though, I just want to keep coming back to this. All of those things we noticed in the first 70 minutes weren't actually contributing to Inter Miami dominating this game, and it was when Yannick Bright and Tadeo Allende come onto the field, who, you know, we love Yannick Bright. Maybe we have some more mixed feelings about Tadeo Allende. They're not as technical as Baltasar, and they're not as clean in short areas as Baltasar and Silvetti appears to be. So that's when we started to dominate. Like, make of that what you will. I think it was a poor decision by the NYCFC coach to take out Thiago Martins, but alas, that's where we end up. Anything else for this game before we get to awards? Did you like the substitution pattern? Did you have any comments on Javier Mascherano's in-game decision-making?
I would have actually liked to see Silvetti finish the game. He's going to under 20 World Cup. He's not going to play for Inter Miami for the regular season at least. Give him the run out, right? Unless he had a flight to catch. And if he gets injured, then
well, he hasn't played. He hasn't played 90 minutes.
Yeah, that's true. But you could also keep Baltasar, man. You don't need to take them out that early. I understand maybe he wanted to show things up a little bit with Yannick Bright in the middle, which I was fine with. I think Jordi Alba coming off injured was slightly problematic, but Toto Avilés was fine when he came on. Glad we didn't get to see Lujan in there. Chelo Egan was okay. So no complaints. I think when your team wins 4-0, keeps a clean sheet, you can't really fault the decisions in any way. So don't have anything negative to say on his substitutions.
Yeah, the big ones were the Silvetti and Baltasar coming out for Yannick Bright and Tadeo Allende because they changed formation. They went to a 3-man midfield and a 3-man front line. The last two, Chelo and Toto Avilés, defensive subs, in a game where Inter Miami was just pouring it on, obviously weren't going to have a ton to do. So I agree with you. Obviously, it's it all worked out pretty well. And maybe change the game in a needed dynamic where you get a fresh legs both in that front line and in the midfield. Maybe that allows you to create some of those turnovers that led to goals, play a little bit higher up the pitch. But ultimately, I want to give them credit. Last thing I'll mention before we get to awards, I want to give the team credit for playing this game way higher up the pitch than they generally play, and especially early in the Mascherano era. They played so deep, and they were asking Suarez and Messi to make these crazy runs, and then when they couldn't do it, it was Tadeo Allende or just a really slow build-up. And by playing 15, 20 yards higher up the field, you can win turnovers in more advantageous situations, hit quickly in transition, and that's where these guys are at their best, Messi and Suarez and Busquets. Like, quick decisions into the right spot with the technical ability to put the ball where they want it to be. That's how this team is at its absolute best. And if you think about our greatest goal-scoring games over the last couple of years, it's exactly what they did against Orlando City last year, against the Red Bulls, against New England. Like, it's always win the ball in the midfield and hit incredibly quickly in transitions on a repetitive basis. And they did it again last night. So I really like that.
Line breaking passes after line breaking passes, finding those spaces really well. I think when it doesn't come off, you make yourself susceptible to a counter attack. But I think yesterday we were finding everything. We were protecting the ball really well in the spaces. So,
well, and I think that's maybe even the point. Last night, and I think on the rewatch, I didn't feel as great about Noah Allen or Maxi Falcone as I did the night before. Ustari had to make a save or two. There's a couple balls at the post, but ultimately they relied on those two center backs to make plays, and they finished with the clean sheet. So even if it's not perfect, you can still be good. You could throw numbers forward. You can go score 4 goals, and you don't need your center backs to be perfect in order to get a good result. There was, I think, a lot of moments where those two could have been better. And so even when you're far from perfect defensively, you can still get a clean sheet. I think that's a great sign. Hopefully it's one that gives Javier Mascherano a little bit of confidence.
Absolutely.
Just by the way, Matteo Silvetti, he's going to the U20 World Cup with Argentina. That tournament's final game is October 19th, which means if they go all the way to the final or third place game, he will be gone for the rest of the regular season. But if Argentina loses anywhere on the road to that, he'll be back potentially for that Atlanta United game, but then certainly for that Nashville game. But you're right. He had a chance, I think, to establish himself as something, and now he feels kind of like I don't know if we're going to be able to trust him in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Because he's not going to have enough time.
It's probably going to be a bench piece. Yeah.
Anything else? You ready to get to awards? I want to talk about NYCFC a little bit more, but I want to save that for a conversation about the playoff picture and how it's lining up in the Supporters Shield. So why don't we jump to awards? That's not what I want. Color me unprepared for this. You missed last episode, and as punishment, I'm taking first pick. And I'm forcing you in a 4-0.
Did you actually break the order? Because I was thinking about this. I think you actually broke the order, didn't you?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'll give it to you.
I'm giving you the man of the match, but I should preface this by saying if you haven't watched the show before, after every game we give out 6 awards, a man of the match, a Heron that flew north, and 2 individual awards each. Because you have skipped out so much lately, I'm taking the man of the match, and I'm giving it to, of course, the one and only Lionel Messi.
All right, next award. This is like we can't even. I think this season we've given more Heron of the Match awards than we previously did last season, right? 100%.
Well, he's played way more games this year.
Yeah, but he's also performed in every single game. So
yeah.
Can I reference a tweet that you made?
Go ahead.
You mentioned to somebody's tweet that basically the tweet read that Son will have a better career in the MLS. Heung-min Son will have a better career in the MLS than Lionel Messi. And you made a very glaring statement, which I wholeheartedly agree with, that Heung-min Son has been incredible. He has been nothing short of brilliant in the MLS so far. Him and Denny Bouanga have been lighting LA up in fire. But Lionel Messi has had the same goal contributions in those games and Heung-min Son. And Heung-min Son is playing at his best. So the fact that Messi's, I think, at par with him in goal contributions is just insane. And this is not even Messi's final form, by the way. Just saying.
Just to clarify what you're saying, Heung-min Son, incredible. Him and Denny Bonga have been a fantastic duo. They have really lit the league up over the past month and a half since Son joined. He has 8 goal contributions, 6 goals, 2 assists. Messi has 8 goal contributions in the last 9 days. In the last 3 games, Messi has 5 goals and 3 assists. He is on another level, and of course, like I appreciate how great Son has been, and I'm sure it's an incredible thing for LAFC fans to have this excitement. But it's almost disrespectful to Lionel Messi. There's a couple other conversations I do want to have with Messi. First of all, I realize now, and I don't know why this just came to my head, earlier today, but I don't know if it's any longer appropriate to use good words to describe Lionel Messi, because it almost feels like a disservice. And now we start using words that are traditionally considered bad words to say something about someone. But he's a freak. He's a monster. And all these other things that you would normally consider a bad thing, he is so good that we have to use those types of words to describe him, because he is actually something above good and great. He is has to be described in a different way. And we've always struggled to figure out exactly how to do that. But I think I'm going to start a dictionary for some negative words to describe him in a positive way, because it doesn't make sense to call his game beautiful anymore, because it's just beyond that.
When he's on fire, he's on fire. There's nothing nobody can do about it. And yes, I used a double negative and I tried to be street about it, but he was phenomenal yesterday. He can be phenomenal when he turns it on. And I think he's going to win the Golden Boot. He's going to win the MVP. And if he stays in this form until the playoffs, he might even pull into Miami to the finals. We'll see. We're getting ahead of ourselves, but he's been brilliant this season as well. I think when you look back at this season retroactively, Messi's season has been nothing short of brilliant. Again, you can't fault him, can you? Would you say he's had a poor season or a poor game? We can say so much about Inter Miami's performances as a whole, Javier Mascherano as a whole, but I think Messi has just been Messi. Superb.
Well, the thing about Messi is I think he's had maybe 2 or 3 poor games this year, and they've all come outside of MLS competition. So if you look at his MLS record, just his outlay in MLS games, it is unbelievable to look at, and no disrespect to any other player that's ever played in this league, but this is different. And that leads me to the point that he's going to win the MVP again.
Yeah.
There's only been one player. Yeah, as you mentioned, there's only one player that's ever won 2 MVPs. They did not do it back to back, and that was 25 years ago, I think, when the MLS was certainly a different league than it is today. He's going to do it. He's going to win back-to-back MVPs.
I'm not even doubtful of that. The only way he loses the MVP race is if it's rigged against him and if it's politicized. Other than that, I think it's a sure. If Taylor Twellman said it, it's going to happen.
No,
Taylor Twellman said it.
It's going to happen because he's the best player. Not. I appreciate Andres Dreyer. I appreciate what Denny Blanc is doing right now.
Yeah.
It's not what Messi's doing. And it's incredible. Preki, by the way, the only player that's ever won it twice. He won it in 1997 and 2003. The only player to win this award a pair of times. Messi's going to do that 2 times in a row. And he's going to be the favorite for next year as well. And he's going to be the favorite as long as he's in Inter Miami, I think.
I agree. Back to back, baby. Bring it. And the Supporters Shield. Bring that too. And the MLS Cup. Bring that too.
Yeah. I'm ready. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not ready to state that they're going to win the Supporters Shield, but I am ready to say that Messi's going to win the MVP. Okay. Heron the Flew North, your first award. For those that don't know, every game we give out an award for the player doing the wrong thing. Florida Herons, they don't fly north for the winter. They don't fly anywhere for the winter. So if you catch one flying north, you catch one doing the wrong thing. And in that vein, this game's Heron that flew north. A 4-0 victory in which Inter Miami was incredible and every single player had a fantastic performance. Saur, break the bad news.
I'm going to get crucified for this. So I want to play a little game. I'm going to mention the player, and you're going to tell me why he's Heron that flew north. And then we're just going to move on to the next award. Does that sound good? I'll let you take the brunt of it
Yeah,
because
go
you
ahead.
know
No,
what?
I like this. I like this.
So the Heron that flew north award for me, very difficult to choose. Please don't clip this and put this up on the internet and judge my footballing skills because it was hard. But I'm going to give this to Matteo Silvetti. Over to you,
And you're
Scotty.
going to give it
I'm
to
gonna.
him. You're going to give it to him because you woke up on the wrong side of the bed. You didn't have your morning coffee. You're very cranky. And some teenager was just making your day miserable. Some intern was making your day miserable. 18-year-old, fresh face, pimples still everywhere. He made the wrong coffee for you today, and
All
you're
right,
taking
stop,
out on
stop,
teenagers
stop,
everywhere.
stop. You're gonna get us cancelled. No, it's very simple. He's leaving for 4 weeks. Why? Whose business is that? He's just getting started, right? There is no excuse for him to leave the team when we're finally starting to do well. And if Inter Miami loses for the next 2-3 games, it's going to be Silvetti's fault. So I'm preempting this. I am preempting this. I'm going to give him one before Inter Miami even gets an opportunity to kick a ball against Toronto or Atlanta because Silvetti's not going to be there. So just because he's going to be absent from the next few games, I think he deserves the Heron that flew north award. Please move on to the next one. I don't want to justify this anymore. But in all seriousness, I think I don't believe he had a truly bad game. I genuinely did not have anybody else to give it to. I thought about giving it to Allende, who I saw the advanced stats did not like that much. But I couldn't justify it. He had a couple of missed opportunities. I thought Silvetti and Baltasar were largely uneventful in this game. Baltasar had a goal, so I can't give it to him. So Silvetti was the only other option. Am I mad? Am I crazy? Who would you have given it to? I mean, I am mad. I am crazy, but does this award make me mad and crazy?
Yeah. I think maybe I would have given it to Noah Allen on the rewatch.
Okay, interesting.
There was maybe 2 or 3 moments that I think he would want back, but it was also difficult. It was a game where everyone I thought played pretty well, including Noah Allen and including Silvetti. So tough job that you had to do in picking him. I certainly wouldn't have given it to the 19-year-old kid making his first start. But
Yeah.
that maybe
Don't put it like that,
no,
man.
no,
You just
no, no,
make
no.
me.
What I'm going to say is that is my bias, and so I don't think you're beholden to my bias.
Okay, good.
That said, pitchforks out, man. How could you possibly do this?
Sorry, guys.
Okay, let's move on. But I like your point that if we lose moving forward, we can blame it on the kid.
Yes.
Because he's gone and he wasn't able to make an impact. Okay. By the way, I will just, for the record, say I did not change the order of the awards. You were in line for this. Okay. My first award, Diamonds Are Forever.
The Diamonds Are Forever award. And of course, that's a James Bond reference, I think. Song reference. I think that's Sergio Busquets because regardless of him being old, almost ready to retire. By the way, is he retiring?
Well, we're going to have that conversation in a second, but I want to talk about this game from him first.
Diamonds Are Forever. Sergio Busquets, despite him being old and aged and almost ready to retire, he puts on a performance like he's 19 years old, making those beautiful line-breaking passes. I thought he was superb. I think this was his best performance this season.
12 years younger is what you meant.
12 years younger. There you go. Thank you.
Gotcha. We're saving each other here.
English is not my first language.
No, listen, he's a diamond, and he always will be. And I thought about making this the class is permanent, but ultimately, he is a freak in the Lionel Messi sense, where he's so good at these things that he does well that it's no longer appropriate to use positive words. You got to use negative words. He's a diamond, and he always will be. He will be forever. He was exceptional in this game. I think you're right. Maybe not his very best game, but arguably his best game.
This
Like
season?
I thought he was excellent against Palmeiras.
Yeah.
And some of the earlier games, I thought we had a pretty good opinion of him earlier in the season, but like he was fantastic in this game. This is arguably his best game in Inter Miami. Like it's that level. Defensively, he had a number of key interventions. And then offensively, he has the assist that puts him in the goal sheet, in the score sheet. He gets not an assist for the penalty, but he puts the ball in that leads to the penalty. And then just his natural play on the ball, the ball progression, as you've mentioned numerous times on this episode, he was one of the key reasons that this game looked so easy for Inter Miami.
He was everywhere, literally omnipresent all around the pitch, doing the defensive work, doing the offensive work, great passing. I think one of the reasons that we looked so good was because Busquets was playing the way he was playing. He didn't put a single pass wrong. I'd love to see his stats and understand what his pass completion rate was, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's above 90%. He was brilliant yesterday. I think without actually scoring a goal or even assisting, if Messi wasn't what Messi is, he would have been my man of the match. Just absolutely brilliant. What can you say, man? 95% pass accuracy, 57 out of 60 passes completed. That is insane. Insane.
Not just
and he won
that.
7 out of 7 ground duels as well. Wow.
Not just that. Only lost possession 4 times. Lionel Messi and Sergio Busquets, similar numbers. 73 touches to 72 for Messi. Messi turned the ball over 18 times, which is normal for him. Like he turns the ball over because he's trying incredible things. Busquets only 4 turnovers, which is an outstanding game by his standards. Okay. Fantastic game yesterday. You haven't been on since some reporter in Spain reported that Sergio Busquets is going to retire at the end of this season and that he would make that announcement soon. That has not come, to be clear. Javier Mascherano even was asked in the post-game press conference or maybe pre-game yesterday about Busquets and his future, and he said that he doesn't have any response and that he thinks Busquets is just focused on the rest of this season. I am always skeptical to trust reporters from far away that know exactly what they're talking about, especially reporters you've never heard of, right? If Michelle Kaufman had said this, it would, of course, be accurate. But, of course, Busquets is Spanish. I'm assuming his agency is Spanish, so it's not like it could totally be accurate. But we don't know that for sure. That said, these might be the final games of Sergio Busquets' career, and he's still doing stuff like what he did last night.
I won't be surprised if he does retire. I think he's at that age, but boy, he's been one of the best players the sport has ever seen in the middle of the pitch. I had a very good award for him. I don't think I should use it because I may be able to use it later, but he's just the cerebral aspect of his game is probably far superior than anything anyone can do physically on the pitch either. So for me, just fantastic that we get to see him play and that we get to see him play for Inter Miami.
Do you think games like that are... He had a big decision to make whether he's going to retire or not, and he's made it, and now there's a weight lifted off his shoulder? Vice versa, do you think he has a game like that, he rewatches and is like, I got this. I still got this. Let's sign me up for another year. Like, he was so fantastic last night, and that's still in him. And we've seen it plenty of times, and that was an exceptionally good game from him, but like he still has incredible quality. That diamond is going to shine bright forever. Because he doesn't need the athleticism. He just, like, what he has will never go away. This team will not be as good if he's not here next year.
I think this team will be different if he's not here next year. Like, it'll be a different team. Like, our playing style, our ability to control the games the way we've done with him in the middle is just not going to be possible without him. So we're going to have to adapt. But hey, we've still got him. We've still got him for a few games. So let's enjoy him while we can. Maybe even next season. Who knows? Next.
Okay, next award. Your first one. What you got for us?
My first award is P for Paramount Award.
P for Paramount. Paramount Plus is where you can find the Premier League games this year. And you know who's a future Premier League player? Yannick Bright. It's going to Yannick Bright for his incredible contributions off the bench.
I love how we just managed to bring him into the conversation no matter what. No, it doesn't go to Yannick Bright. It doesn't have anything to do with Paramount Plus. Do you want to get one more guess before I reveal who it is? It's actually a really fun award.
No, go ahead and tell us because I'm not going
Okay.
to make it fun and then it'll ruin the mood for a fun award. Go ahead.
P is not the letter P in English. It's the letter P in Greek. The letter P in Greek, or rho in Greek, is the significant for, it signifies 100. Greek, 100, Noah Allen, Paramount because he's the best centre back that we have on this team. Yesterday I thought he was good, but I think he's definitely better than Lujan, 100% better than Maxi Falcone. But he completed 100 games for this team, who I don't think you or me, when we started this podcast, thought we would be saying that. And yeah, there you go. Greek Noah Allen wins the P for Paramount Award.
Well, I'm certainly rusty on my Greek numerals. So fair play to you for knowing that.
You're welcome. I had to Google it.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't want to give him the Heartbeat Award because I knew you were going to do that. So I just want to give him the P for Paramount Award.
You're preempting me because I was absolutely going to give Noah Allen the Heartbeat
I
Award
knew it.
next.
I knew it.
No, dude. Okay. I thought he was meh in this game. He had a few moments that I think he would want back, and that's okay. He's a young player, and certainly none of them were catastrophic, and certainly like it was like 2 or 3 isolated moments, but generally he was fine, and I think he'll be fine moving forward. Now that we've talked about his performance yesterday, let's get to the big topics. He has a new contract, which is also something we haven't talked about on the podcast, and I've been waiting for this moment. On the one hand, a lot of Inter Miami players have signed new contracts and then been traded or sold immediately. So I want to be a little cautious here. But on the other hand, incredibly well-deserved. He is, I think, hopefully, like the heart of what Inter Miami can be over the next 2 years if they want to really reestablish good vibes. And if they had moved him on, and along with Ian Frey and a couple other, like, it's not just him, but he's representative of it. I really wonder where sort of the soul of this team would go. And it's not just that he's like fiery on the pitch and you can see his excitement when he makes a big play, but it's part of his like connection to South Florida. And so for Inter Miami to have a kid come through the academy and develop exactly like you're supposed to into a key player for a team that's fighting for the MLS Cup and is fighting for the Supporter Shield and is doing big things and has an MVP on and all that stuff. Like, that's an incredible journey for him. It's exactly what you want for a young player, and Inter Miami did we don't know about the numbers, but hopefully we assume they did the right thing by him and got him that new big fancy contract that he clearly deserves. And hopefully he is our center back one moving forward because he's awesome, man. He's awesome.
And listen, if he leaves because he's deserved the move abroad and he's going to a better adventure and a better team in Europe, then I think that's fine. It's the way that he probably lets go, right? So just because he's received a new contract and he leaves doesn't mean that's a bad thing necessarily. But I do think this is a player that is future captain, right? If he doesn't leave Inter Miami, if he's not allowed to leave Inter Miami, he's future captain. He's been brilliant. So
yeah, and just to that point, some players leave on a high and some players leave on a not so high. I think what we saw with Diego Gomez at the end of last season was like everyone felt great about it. He was moving on to the next big adventure, and we could talk about him in a few minutes. And it was like a great feeling. And then you have Kramaski and Redondo a couple weeks ago. Maybe Kramaski less, but Redondo, it didn't feel like a great exit, that it was everything he wanted and all that stuff.
No, not at all.
If Noah leaves and it's because everything is going according to plan and it's beautiful, like that's awesome. But it's not really what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the other part for Noah Allen is he gets his 100th appearance for Inter Miami. And so I am also giving the award the Heartbeat Award because every player that gets 100 appearances on this team deserves the Heartbeat Award. Fifth player in Inter Miami history. He follows Drake Callender, Robert Taylor, Benjamin Kramaski, which is not a list that's going to make you think he's going to be here long term. Sergio Busquets, which maybe also doesn't make you feel like he's going to be here long term. But he becomes a fifth player.
Retired almost.
Yeah. Those five players are like key to the Inter Miami story, and Noah Allen is also now. And that's awesome.
It's brilliant. Brilliant. Centurion, it's always a proud moment when you achieve this milestone because it means like he's been performing really well and he's gone from a player that nobody thought would be a genuine starter material, let alone one of the best centre backs this team has, let alone completing 100 games in a matter of, a season. So going from second or third choice left back to now cementing your place as a centre back has been brilliant. His evolution has been brilliant, and congratulations to Noah Allen.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, next award. Let's see. You took my Noah Allen award, so I am going to give the makeover.
The makeover award goes to Baltasar Rodriguez because this is his opportunity to finally get fit, finally get healthy, and make over his season, change things around, and get a few goals, lead us into the playoffs, score a few goals in the playoffs, and then win us the playoffs. Baltasar Rodriguez, because he scored a goal, and I think he deserves an award.
No. Sometimes when you're not playing well, you got to shake things up. You got to get a little makeover. Maybe you got to get a new tattoo. Maybe you got to shave your legs. Maybe you got to dye your hair platinum white.
That's never exactly worked for anyone on this team, by the way. Not Leo Campana, not Luis Suarez. I don't think it's going to work for RDP.
We're going to ignore that because I thought Rodrigo de Paul defensively had an uptick in his performance on Saturday night against DC United, and I thought he had a general uptick on his performance today, including that extra burst that I love. And maybe part of the reason I gave this as award is so I could see that nice little graphic with him in the white hair.
Yeah.
I thought it was an uptick. I think the last 2 or 3 games he's been trending in a better direction. Is he the superstar that I thought we were getting? No. But he's trending in a better direction. And you've said maybe he won't get there this year because he didn't have a summer break, which is disappointing, but like plausible. Maybe he needs to adapt to the humidity, and because they were in New York and it was a little cooler, he was a little more prepared for that. All these ancillary reasons, fine. Even if he starts inching towards better production and better performance, that'll be huge for Inter Miami come to playoff time. And whether we have to wait until next year to get prime superstar Rodrigo de Paul, I want more from him now. And if we're getting that incrementally, I think that's a good thing and a good positive that I am really happy with.
I genuinely don't see what you saw with that burst of pace. I think you're imagining yourself, but hey, if that's an actual thing, then fantastic. I think he's just been more consistent with his contributions to the game. Again, I don't know if he's ever going to be that player who's going to have a phenomenal game in, game out. But I thought in a 2-man midfield yesterday where he had a lot of work to do, we dominated that middle, and he was part of it. Sergio Busquets being amazing, obviously, but I think Rodrigo de Paul playing centrally helps him a lot more. He has that defensive ability. He has that bite. He has that energy to just smother the opposition defense. He's been good in his passing as well and making sure the ball is moving regularly. I thought his passing yesterday was actually quite good. And he kept the ball ticking forward rather than backwards. Of course, the annoyance is constantly falling over on the slight touch, but that's, I guess, just part of his game that we're going to have to get used to. White hair, maybe that's a change of style, change of fortunes. I don't think he's been particularly bad for Inter Miami, but he's not lit anybody's world on fire. So maybe from now on, he can continue to build upwards from this performance. Good award, in my opinion.
Yeah, I honestly I agree with everything you just said. Steps in the right direction, but if he continues taking steps in the right direction for the next couple weeks, he'll be pretty useful come playoff time, pretty impactful come playoff time. So
Yeah.
maybe we leave it there. Okay, Sora, what is your second and final award?
The Bubble Wrap Award.
Oh, you are so happy that I did not steal this one. Um, the Bubble Wrap Award goes to Baltasar Rodriguez because you were very impressed with his performance last night, and you got to wrap him in bubble wrap between the time the game ends and the time the next game starts because this man seems to keep getting injured, and if only he could stay healthy, we would be in a great spot. Baltasar Rodriguez.
I don't need to say anything more. No, this is a player. There's a player there. He's got something to him. He can definitely be. I think he can become a fan favorite. He can be a player that we really enjoy watching. He's got like a spark to him. He does some good silky stuff. He's got good technicality to him. Not a world beater. I don't think he's a Diego Gomez. I don't think he's a future Messi. But it's a player that I think we can really enjoy playing for Inter Miami. The problem is this is absolutely blasphemous that it's his second start and he was signed in March. Like, that's unforgivable. He needs to find a way to get healthy because we're at a crunch time in the season where we need results. He clearly has an ability to impact games. And the fact that he's not able to stay healthy is really annoying and creates a lot of disruption to the squad. So if he can put a string of games together, I think it's only going to be positive for this team, whether he starts or whether he comes off the bench. Great finish yesterday, deserves an award for scoring a goal. But I need to wrap him up in bubble wrap because otherwise he's going to get injured again and we're going to struggle to see him again. And maybe we don't sign him again after this if he can't perform consistently.
I feel bad for Baltasar, and I feel bad for kind of bringing this up. I wouldn't have brought up the injury angle for Baltasar, but now that we're here, I almost have to say this because it's on my mind. I think this is it for Baltasar. They can't re-sign him. They can't activate.
They will.
They can't.
If Javier Mascherano stays, they will. 100%.
They can't. He's played 11 games for Inter Miami. Like you can't.
Well, he started 2. He's come off the bench in like 9 of them.
You can't use one of your U22 spots on a player that's just out for 80% of the games. And I feel bad for him because there's talent there. You're right. If he was just healthy. And the other thing I'll say is if it was one ACL tear, like that's a one-off injury, okay, we can get up. But it's like every other week he gets another problem that's
and
new.
It's like knock after knock.
Yeah. So I don't think they can sign him under any circumstances because he's going to do the same thing again next year, which I feel so bad for because I do think he's a good player. And I think there's something there. And obviously I agree with you. He's not Diego Gomez or Messi, but like he can be an impactful player for Inter Miami. And so now you've got somewhere between 5 and 11 games for the rest of your Inter Miami career to go make yourself an Inter Miami fan favorite. And if we remember him for this 10-game stretch or 11-game stretch, hopefully, that will be amazing.
He might be Matas Rojas, just a shorter stint.
Yeah, go get it, kid. Go get it.
It's his chance. Seize it.
He's had 2 starts this year. I don't know.
Could he be the most impactful player that we've had only for the shortest amount of time? Could he be that player? I think he could.
Well, he hasn't done it. Like he hasn't done that yet.
Yeah.
But
let's not get ahead of ourselves.
I want him to be healthy. Like I want him to do it. I want him to be so good that we have to reevaluate.
Don't you have a Baltasar jersey?
No.
Oh, okay. No. I was gonna say
that'd be quite tragic. I still haven't bought the pink jersey this year, and I think I'm gonna get Alan Obando on it because it'll be a real souvenir. That'll be a real trivia question in 5 years.
Who was this player? Yeah. Nobody knows.
Number 29.
He was a ghost.
Not important. What I will say is, this is your chance. Go get it, kid. And I want to remember you fondly. And if he gets injured tomorrow and he never plays for Inter Miami again, I I'm not going to think much about him because he
Yeah.
hasn't done that much yet. But I think he's going to have the opportunity right now, and it's the best part of the season to be healthy. So go get it, kid. Anyone else you want to talk about? Oscar Ustari had some key saves. There's one in the second half where he has to go to his right, and it's hit really hard. It's not particularly far from him, but that can go through someone's hands and be a disaster, and he makes that play. I thought he had 2 or 3 opportunities where he came off his line really quickly, and I thought that was big for Inter Miami. Jordi Alba was solid, although maybe got a little bit of a knock at the end, so hopefully he's okay. But really, I thought the whole team played pretty well, and that's why everything looks so crisp. Ian Frey, Maxi Falcone, DePaul, Silvetti, like Suarez, who gets the penalty goal. Like that, it all looked really crisp. And by the way, also Tadeo Allende and Yannick Bright came on, and the level rose. Tadeo Allende misses a shot. It was already 3-0.
Again.
He missed a shot again. I will say, I rewatched. I thought it was I think it was a tough shot. Like he's really off balance. Like that one's not as bad as some of the ones he's had recently. I think there's a lot of other players that don't even get a foot to the ball. That said,
Yeah.
like the team got better when those guys came on. I thought the midfield played really well from that point on, and so credit all around, man. Credit all around.
I thought that was a largely very positive performance from the entire team, and I would give it an 8 out of 10 to the entire team for how everyone had a really solid game.
Yeah, I agree with that. I certainly agree with that. Okay, let's talk bigger picture, and we'll start with the Eastern Conference. Philadelphia Union, as they've been for much of this season, at the top of the table. By the way, I do want to say, there was a moment earlier this year, maybe 2 months ago, where FC Cincinnati jumped Philadelphia, and their social media team made a post about it, just like they did a year ago when they jumped Inter Miami for like a day. And a week later, Philadelphia was back at the top of the table and has stayed there ever since. Inter Miami, though, with this win, jumps up to 3rd place in a spot where they have not been like at all this season. They've been in that 6th, 5th, 7th range because they've had all these games in hand, but teams ahead of them just keep putting up points, and Inter Miami's really had to chase these teams down. But now we're getting to the point where those games in hand are happening, and Inter Miami's won them. And so now that table looks a lot juicier than it did this time 2 weeks ago. Inter Miami in 3rd, 29 games played, 5 games left. They are 5 points behind Philadelphia with 2 games in hand. Philadelphia has a tough schedule. They play Charlotte and NYCFC in their last 3 games, which is not how you want to finish the season. Cincinnati has Orlando City and the Red Bulls, 2 teams that are also playing for something still. So it's a lot easier of a schedule for Inter Miami. They play their next 4 games against teams outside the top 8. It looks pretty good for Inter Miami right now.
Chicago, New England, Atlanta, Nashville, Toronto. Wait, I've already said Toronto.
They play Toronto on Saturday. Then they play 3 games in a row against Chicago Fire, New England Revolution, and Atlanta United, and then they finish with Nashville.
That's doable, man. That's like 12 out of 15, I think, should be. Like, these were the games I thought we would win. When we were talking about Inter Miami getting 16 points, there were like 12 points in those 4 games. So
Same.
Nashville might be a difficult one, but I think there's a game there that you can maybe drop points.
Well, it depends what the stakes are. Because Nashville might be solidly in the playoffs with nothing to play for, and Inter Miami might be playing for the Supporters Shield. So I think it depends on the environment once we get there. But you can see how that game could mean everything for Miami and not that much for Nashville. So something to keep in mind. Again, Philadelphia, they might lose their next 2 games. They play Charlotte and NYCFC, who are the 2 hottest teams in MLS right now. They might finish on 63 points, and Inter Miami might finish on 67 if they get 12 out of 15. Like, all of a sudden, it looks really good. And maybe that's because they've won 3 games in a row and we're starting to feel ourselves and we're starting to feel confident in this team. And maybe they're about to drop an absolute reality check on us Saturday night. But it's right there for them in the Eastern Conference.
Listen, man, vibes wins football games. That's what I've thought. And I've always believed in that. Forget the tactics, forget all the stats. It's always the momentum and the vibes. And if Inter Miami can carry that into the playoffs, honestly, if we win the Supporter Shield every year, who even cares about the MLS Cup, right? Like every year, just win the Supporter Shield and we'll be fine.
It's been over a decade since any team has gone back to back on the Supporter Shield, so that's not
Um,
something that happens
well,
every day.
well,
Well,
well.
as Sean says, and now we switch to the Supporter Shield conversation. Vancouver also had a couple games in hand. Inter Miami and Vancouver going into the game yesterday had the most possible points remaining. They could both finish on 70 points. And Vancouver had a pretty substantial goal differential advantage against Inter Miami. And then our boy, Kamal Miller, went and got a world-class goal. And I don't know if you saw it, but it was
I did.
exceptional from maybe 30, 28 yards out off the volley. It was an exceptional goal. And Vancouver drops 2 points because of it. Portland gets that draw on the road at Vancouver, which means Inter Miami controls their own destiny. If they win out, they win the Supporter Shield. Period. End of discussion.
We were in this position last year. We're back in this position this year. Thank you, Kamal Miller. How much can we pay you to come back? But if not, at least you keep helping us from another team. So thank you for that. It's in our hands. As simple as that.
Do you think that has a big effect on the psychology of the players?
Absolutely. Absolutely does.
I think so too. And that's
Because
one of
then
my.
you're like, oh, it's tentative, depends on what the other teams are going to do. We don't necessarily, even if we win, we're not sure if we're going to get the Supporter Shield. Now it's like, if you don't win, you can only blame yourselves.
Yeah.
The
No,
responsibility is on your shoulders.
I think that's exactly what it is. And so when we talk about every game from this point on, there's an added pressure where they go on the road at Toronto on Saturday night, and that would have absolutely been a trap game in March or April or May or June. But now that it's right there, they are a few weeks away from winning the league Supporter Shield, finishing top of the table. That, I think, is a motivating factor to help you avoid these trap games because you know every single game matters, every single point counts. I think this is, like, I thought last night's game was make or break for Inter Miami's chances because of this exact reason. They got through the hard part, and now they're going to have some potential trap games against lower-level competition that in a different part of the season you might drop points in. But because they know what's at stake right in front of them, and as you said, it's their responsibility, I think they're going to take care of business in a way they might not have 3 months ago.
Watch them lose to Toronto.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else about this game or Inter Miami season? Because I have one other topic I want to bring up.
No, let's go on to the final topic.
I did it. Last night, you told me to go watch Diego Gomez's goals against Barnsley in the Carabao Cup. And I did today. And oh my goodness, that third goal. I encourage everyone, go look up Diego Gomez's game against Barnsley. It was Tuesday night. He scored 4 goals. That second one is incredibly impressive. And the first and the fourth one are sort of tap-ins. The second one is incredibly impressive. That third one is one of the greatest goals of 2025 across the world. It is spectacular. It's from 37, 38 yards out. I mean, it is 15 yards outside the penalty box and off the volley, and he just whips it, and the goalkeeper never had a chance.
No, even he didn't think he would go in.
It was amazing. It's one of the most impressive goals I've ever seen.
Dude, he's doing bits at Brighton, by the way. Like, he's really being used. He's playing regularly. He's getting good numbers. He's almost ready to bench Carlos Baleba when Carlos Baleba is one of the best young midfielders in the world. And Diego Gomez is putting up some good numbers.
Diego Gomez might be one of the best young midfielders in the world. What I will say for Diego Gomez, and this was something that I thought of when I watched those highlights, is does he have a chance to be the best player to come out of the MLS? And I thought about it, and I don't think he's going to get to Alphonso Davies. But does he have a chance to be the best player to come out of one of the American MLS teams ever? And, like, I think that potential is in front of him. I'm not saying he's there or close to there yet. Like, obviously what all the names blanking. Clint Dempsey has done, like, there are guys that have done great things, but Diego Gomez at Brighton is doing the type of thing that gets you the $80 million move to one of the biggest clubs in the world in a year and a half. And he's, he'll be 23. Like,
No, when he joined Brighton, I thought he'd be like, yeah, used from time to time in like a really small cup game, but he's regularly getting game time. He's regularly putting in good performances, solid performances, and my goodness, man, those 4 goals, I think that just cements him as a Brighton legend. He doesn't need to do anything after that for that club.
no, but like you said, like, it feels like there's a way he earns himself a starting position in that midfield at some point this season, and that is, I mean,
Wow.
we saw it up close and personal in 2024. But man, good for him, and that is, as we mentioned, someone who left on the best of terms. We got to feel great about him as a former Inter Miami player. So.
I think the best young player to come out of Inter Miami or the MLS is going to be Sergio Busquets. That's my opinion.
The
He's just
19-year-old
starting
version
his
or the
career.
12 years younger version?
The 19-year-old version.
He's gonna go back to Italy. He's not retiring.
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
just leaving
Yeah.
Inter Miami, and he's gonna go to Juventus and have a whole second career, right?
Could you believe that?
The answer is not
Maybe.
no. Okay, so anything else on your mind? I know you are leaving for
Yeah,
quite some time.
I should mention
You're leaving me
this,
alone,
so
all by my lonesome. So go ahead. The floor is yours. Final
guys,
words.
I do want to apologize. I've been missing a lot. It's just been a really busy summer. I promise this is the last stretch of games that I'm going to miss. It's going to be a long stretch of games. I'm not going to be here for at least the next 3 games, but I'll be back for Inter Miami's game against maybe Nashville or Atlanta, where I think we're going to be closer to the Supporters Shield. The picture is going to be a lot clearer, and then I'm going to be here for the playoffs. Do miss me a little. I am going to miss every single one of you. Scotty, I will probably miss you a little bit as well. Do not burn the house down. Do not burn the popcorn while I'm away. And hopefully Inter Miami can do some bits. But I will see you guys very, very soon.
I just want everyone to know that if we lose the next 3 games, or even
It's
if
on
we
me.
drop a single point, it's absolutely on Saur. And otherwise, that we'll be holding it down here at the Driving Dialogue. We'll have some guests on and all that, so we'll keep going. But Saur will be gone for a while, and then when he comes back, hopefully Inter Miami can go win the MLS Cup. That'd be pretty cool, huh?
Absolutely.
Okay, guys. That's it for this episode. It was a really fun game. I thought the high of the raw reaction last night was as good and as much fun as I've had as an Inter Miami fan, probably going back to the Club World Cup. And I now believe in this team in a way I never wanted to. I have confidence in a way I wish I didn't. And I am so ready to get my heart broken again in a way that I wish I wasn't. But I'm back, man. I'm so back in on this team. And I only hope they don't break my heart again. But how could you not be when you watch Lionel Messi do the things?
I swear if I watch the next episode and you're crying about how this team is utterly poor, Javier Mascherano needs to go, I will come back. I will come back just for that. Just to tell you, I told you so. So you dare not go back on your words.
Oh, Sean says all these positive words are meaning
Exactly.
we're gonna lose now.
Exactly.
No, guys, it's totally fine because we already agreed to blame Saur if they lose, if they drop points.
Hey, if we win, then I think that means I don't get to come back at all.
Yeah, we'll see.
No, I'll
Okay,
be
guys.
back. I'll be back.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight. It was an exceptionally fun game, and we will be back 1-ish hours before kickoff on Saturday. They play DC United. I'm sorry, they play Toronto FC. Just scheduling for the record, that game is earlier in the afternoon. I believe it's a 3:30 Eastern start. Might be 4:30 Eastern start. Let me just check that real quick. Actually, it's a 3:30. No, it's a 4:30 p.m. Eastern start. So it's not 7:30. Be prepared for the game to be earlier in the afternoon. And then there's some big college football games later that night that I get to enjoy. So everyone have a great night, and we will see you guys then. Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. Do us a favor and hit that like and subscribe button. Since our first viewer, sharing this with you all has been the very best part. So from the beginning until the end, thank you for being a part of this and have a wonderful day.